We are refreshed, we are rejuvenated, and we're back for another episode, but this time with the break room, the power of no. Thank you guys for joining back with us, non-corporate girls. We're glad to be here, and joining us for this discussion is Carla. Woo woo!
Hey y'all.
We missed you, Carla. It was time. It was time to get up and get back to it.
It was long overdue. Right, it's long overdue, and I have some exciting updates, so we can dive right in.
Yes. So let's kick it off with a positive note before we get into any discussion on the conversation. So, Carla, you are a guest. Would you like to kick up? I can't talk. Kick off with your positive note. Don't judge me, y'all.
Never.
No, you're good. It's Tuesday. It's like the unofficial hump day before hump day. But
Okay.
on a positive note, I've been going to the gym for over 100 days now, which has been exciting. Yeah.
We love it. We love it.
We love to see it.
Right? So I've been doing that for over 100 days now, and I've officially lost 15 pounds so far. So I'm really excited. But yeah, that's my positive note. I've just been really prioritizing my health over these last several months, and I'm really excited about that.
Oh my God. I love the consistency that you've been showing and sharing and your transparency with it. It's been really amazing. And it looks good. Like you look good, you feel good, and it's just really beautiful to see.
Yes, definitely
Thank
inspiring.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, D, you want to go?
Yeah. So my positive note, kudos to actually the title of this podcast, because I feel like with no comes the power of redirection and self-worth, where other times I would have said yes and openly given so much, and now I direct people, whether it's like to a consultation or simply stating like that is not a topic I choose to spend my energy on. And that has really changed the game for me. And it has just been like very eye-opening. And with that being said, I've done a 21-day fast and meditation where I kind of took the time to unplug. For the month basically of January, I was not on social. I totally tuned out and redirected that energy into pouring back into myself with the things that I had to remind myself that brought me joy, made me happy. My goal for this year is to read at least one book a month. I'm a little behind. I'm giving myself the week to complete my book for January so I could get into February. And with the 21-day fasting and meditation, it was basically to draw a relationship and build a spiritual connection closer to God, where I feel like sometimes we give our attention to things that really don't pour into us or serve us in the way that we think. And so I'm trying to redirect that energy into the things that are going to help build me up in a positive way. So yeah, it was a really good experience.
I love that. And it's been like really like motivation too, because you keep talking about like how the experience has felt so good for you, like during the days and things like that. And it encourages other people to like, you actually can like take a pause, step back, and like reevaluate
Mm-hmm.
what's going to bring you the joy in your
And the
life.
thing is too, like doing away with social media entirely, it was not like the goal here, because it's very much a part of like the work that I do and that I enjoy doing, but it was just taking accountability for how much we sometimes mindlessly scroll with no real intention of anything. It's just literally to deflect away from things that we should be dealing with or things that we're trying to procrastinate from. So I literally try to be mindful whenever I felt like I want to go on social media, where could I put that energy to do something that was more productive and actually have more outcome, rather than just like spending hours scrolling on something and it just flooding me with more information, more ideas, but I'm never really executing on none of it.
Preach.
Deep.
Yo, and let me tell you, I felt the difference in a matter of 3 days. Like it was a little fidgety of me, whereas like I attempted to go to that, but I made sure to put the app not where I'm used to it being. I didn't delete it, but I just moved it to like the last page, like when you slide on your iPhone. And yeah, every time I would just either go into like a prayer or do something that's like what's something you need to get off your list, but you wouldn't have get it off your list had you been on social right now. So
Hmm. It
Mm,
definitely increases
oh,
productivity.
1000%.
yeah,
1000%.
Yeah, I love
that's
that.
deep though.
And I did it like cold turkey, which was pretty insane too. Like there was no like like tiptoeing into it. It was just like get rid of it and do the things. So now it's like it's getting embedded back into, but I noticed that the way I was treating social media, I'm not even like handling it that way currently. Like I'll go in and I'll check some things, but I'm mindful to like, all right, let's step back to like reality and the stuff that you have to get done. And my driving force is like, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to complete? If you're on social, you're not going to be able to complete that. And so I still have to have like those pep talks with myself, um, because you don't realize just how like a distraction it is.
Hmm. But you said something like intention, right? Like that's a big thing. Like you're like kind of like looking at what the intention for your day is and how this doesn't fit into it, or at least the time frame of what you scroll on social media is not doing. So that's helpful.
So I challenge anybody else to do it who's been thinking of like you should give it a try. You reap more reward from doing so than not. So let me know if you do, and let's talk about it.
Nice. So, you said something about before about like joy, like this has helped you like find your joy and stuff. So that goes into kind of like my positive note. So like last week I got real sick. I think there's like a stomach bug, there's an infection, something's going
Mhm.
around because everybody's sick, but it really took me out last week. But in it taking me out, I was also super, super down, like super down, like just the
Oh,
motivation to do anything.
Mhm.
It happens, right? And so I was talking to my therapist about this and like, this is how you know, like, there's been like growth in my life because even though I was really down, I really had to find ways to bring myself out of that. And so tapping into your joy, right? Like, what is it that you want to do? What do you like to do? What's going to fuel you? And so I really enjoyed like finding the time to like just like read and finding the time to just like be and not like, obviously not be on social media, but just like have that time for myself and like getting back to that just really helped my mood a lot. And so like over the weekend, it was just a different feeling than I had from last week. And I'm really grateful for that because, in the past, and we've talked about this on here, mental health and all these things, but in the past, like it would have been really hard
Mhm.
to like get out of that place, and I feel like it's a shorter time frame. I'm able to do it. And so I feel good about that.
Yeah,
So that's my
I
positive
love
note.
it. I love it.
amen. I'm glad you feel
Just gotta
better.
be honest. Thank you. Oh my God, girl. I'm ready to take over the world this week.
Okay, shout out to the
Sorta.
people that can pull themselves out of dark spaces.
Okay, because it is no easy
Mhm.
task. Okay. All right, so let's get into this topic. All right, so how did we come about this topic? So I think Delilah, you shared a tweet with
No, actually,
me.
it was Carla.
Um,
It was Carla.
oh, Carla, you shared a tweet. Was it in our
It
group
was.
chat? Okay,
Probably we
so
would have to go through like the depths of the
I
group chat to
can't,
find
Mhm.
it.
I can't even. It was a while back. It was like 2, 3 months back, maybe. But it was just such a fitting topic and conversation that we were like, oh, we need to pocket this and come
Right.
back to it. So I'm gonna read the tweet and then we can like talk more. So the tweet is from Angel Lanise on Instagram, well on Twitter actually. I think we saw it on Instagram though. And it's her tweet says 2023 is my year of no. No, I'm not going. No, I can't help you. No, I'm not entertained. No, I don't want to talk. No, I don't want to reconcile. No, I don't have a reason other than no. No to whatever I feel like saying no to, and I'm doing it guilt free.
Okay, preach, Angel.
That's a mic drop.
Mm-hmm.
Boop, just like that.
L to the no.
And there's been some other, so like it's funny, right? That we talked about that, let's say 2 months ago. And since then, there's been like so many people. I don't know if y'all have seen who've been posting things about no. Like Valicia Butterfield, who we talked about on the hashtag obsessed with, she started a whole no challenge. Like there's been all these things around this concept of no. And part of it is because as women of color, we always feel like we need to produce. We always feel like we need to make other people feel comfortable
Mhm.
and we need to show up in certain ways. And it's like, how do you take a step back and kind of reclaim your power,
Mhm.
right? And so I think that's what no does. So I'm gonna leave that there. And y'all, what's up?
Mm.
So saying no.
D, I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, so this is something that I've been working through actually with my therapist too, in saying no, and in just like conflict resolution, something that I'm working on, right? Because I'm constantly worried about how someone views me, or not necessarily how I'm viewed, but how I make someone feel. So I never want to be the cause of someone's anger or someone being disappointed because I didn't get to come through on something. And so it doesn't allow me to feel how I want to feel because I'm concerned about how someone else is feeling. And so I needed to understand, and I'm working through understanding that, like, the same way I have to be responsible for my feelings and emotions, that person needs to be responsible for theirs. And I feel like I was carrying weight of things I really necessarily didn't have to. Um, and no was fine in saying so. Like, they would have dealt with it, they would have handled it accordingly or make other plans, and it would have been just fine. I didn't have to force myself into something just because I felt like I was doing, causing someone inconvenience. Because there's many times when people cause
Mhm.
me inconvenience, and I resolve and I go and figure it out. So it's like, why was I doing that to myself? I don't know. I'm trying, with the help of my therapist, have tried to unpack that, but I noticed that that has affected different areas of my life, like in friendships, in careers, and just within myself, in like intimate relationships, because I keep on trying to show up as this person who never has the right to mess up or say no because I'm not doing that.
So okay, that was beautiful and definitely set that context for a lot of things. So let's take a step
Let's.
back, right? Jumping into let's talk about it. When was the moment that you both realized that you were doing this? Like, what was that moment for you, that pivotal moment? And how did that change things for you? And Delilah, you talked a little bit about the tools,
Mhm.
but I really want to know the moment that you all realized that.
So,
Ooh,
Carla, you want to answer?
no, no.
Or are you
I
thinking?
have so many, but I'm gonna let you. I'm thinking. I'm gonna let you go because, baby, I feel like I'm gonna go down the Rolodex.
Not a Rolodex, but for me, a part that stood out. So y'all know that I'm extra, and I go above and beyond, and I do all the things, and like everything has to be an event. Everything has to be like, if it doesn't look a certain way, I failed because I want it to be presented in this
Mhm.
way. So I feel like two instances. It was my birthday. Surprisingly, it was two birthdays. My birthday and my grandmother's 80th birthday, where the power of no just, I was like, wait a minute. I'm the one like breaking my back or coming up with the ideas, or feeling like the only one pressed for something to look a certain way or for the plan to be solidified accordingly, and everybody else is chilling. If I simply say I don't want to do this or I'm not going to do this, that changes the whole game of like how I feel, because nobody's forcing me to do these things. It's how I want to do this because I want the person to feel special. But I don't have to I don't have to do this big project for them to feel special where I feel like I'm drowning, if that makes sense. And so apply that as you will
Mhm.
to other things where I was going above and beyond or above my head on something, where if I would have just been like, I can say no, or I don't have to do this, it just alleviates everything that's on your plate. And that was the eye opener for me, because it really even changed how I felt physically.
Mhm.
So
I was gonna ask you, like, what did that
it
feel
just
like?
felt light. It felt light because there was no longer an
Mhm.
obligation. But the kicker there is that nobody was holding me to the standard but myself. But there was an
Mhm.
expectation of what people felt should be done because I've put myself in that role. And so now that is what people expect of me. And anything less is like, so what happened? Or you don't want to do it. And it's like, why don't you try doing it this time? Like, I could pass the baton freely now. We're not feeling like if it doesn't come out the way it should look like, it's not only my responsibility for that outcome.
That's that
Guilt
guilt-free
free. And it
process.
was that, the guilt free, because I just felt like if I didn't do it to this level, to this standard at all times, then I feel like I'm failing somebody. But nobody was really saying that. That was me subconsciously feeling that way. But it made me operate in a certain manner. But they didn't feel good to operate in that manner, because some of the things like you can't do by yourself. You do need the help, the assistance, whether it's the resources, monetary, just an extra set of hands. Like I was like burning myself out almost willingly, and I was like, chill, you don't have to do that.
Carla.
Whew, girl. So
Pull out from the
D hit
Rolodex.
on a lot of things. Right. I feel like D hit on a lot of things in terms of like where it happened. And for me, it was honestly, it was a work project gone bad last year. That really made me be like, yo, you gotta say no. Like I was in the thick of it, and it was one of those hot and heavy, we gotta do this quick, we gotta get everything done. And I realized just every time something came up, it was an opportunity for this organization to be like, well, I know we asked you for this, but, and I know we thought of this, but, or maybe we could, and but, and I had to take a step back and say, as you're building a business and as you're being mindful of how you're, attracting relationships or maintaining relationships, where are you saying no and not stretching yourself so you feel like, you're going above and beyond?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where people mess up, is that we focus on, oh, I need to go above and beyond when I do this, and this.
Right.
And it's like, if you take a step back and just realize that you could do great work within your own bounds and your own means, you'll be fine.
Right.
And that one particular work project, I just realized, I was like, after this, and even after another situation came up, I was like, you have to change the way in which you decide to work with individuals and people.
Mm-hmm.
So setting my boundaries became no longer, let's say, like giving my cell phone number out to certain people. Or if you're going to communicate with me, you're going to communicate this way. You want something from me, you're going to get it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have systems in place. I'm going to build out my operations. And as much as in that moment, I was like, Dad, I got to spend this money. It was the biggest and best investment that I made thus far in my business.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things right now on my Twitter account, I have this running, my new tagline as my name is, what is the ROI?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's been my question these last several months. And I'm like, it's carrying me over into the year. And I'm like, my ROI for myself is peace of mind. So
Yes.
with that, I'm like, that's me. That's the power of saying no.
And for you
Like,
guys,
the ROI for that is I've had.
sorry, Carla, I was just gonna say, for the non-marketing listeners,
Yeah.
the ROI is the return on investment, and for Carla, it is a peace of mind.
Yes. Okay, it is peace of mind, and I've gotten so much time back. So now I go to bed when I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I go at a decent time, and I'll work out like 3-4 times a week.
Trying to get like you,
I
yo.
mean, it's girl.
She goes.
My
She's goes.
Girl, my trainer's kicking my butt right now. So Joelle, if you listen to this episode, I'm actually sending it to you so you can listen to it. Shout out to Joelle for kicking my butt every week.
Shout out to Joelle for holding you accountable.
Yes,
That part.
absolutely, holding me accountable. But yes, y'all, that's where I was like, I gotta say no, I gotta stop. But yeah,
And it feels so good, right?
oh my gosh, it feels so good. Like me and my therapist were chatting last night, and I was like, girl, I finally have been putting my foot down, and it just feels so good to say no to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It feels so good. So yeah,
It's like, I love that. So a few things. One, I love that, Delaila, you touched on family, and just we saw an example of that. Carla, you touched on business, and we saw an example of that. But overall, it's really a lifestyle change. Like this is something that is impacting our lives, and being able to like put those boundaries in place is how it carries over to everything. And these are just like examples. So just sharing like for the community, like this will show up everywhere. If you have no boundaries, this will show up everywhere.
Absolutely.
So Thank you for those examples because it's beautiful. My example is around friends
Ooh, I love
and
that we're
social
giving all different
activities.
perspectives. I love it. I love it.
Friends and social activities. So for me, I realized this a couple of years back, and it was because I was super burnt out. It was like I had a moment where I was saying yes to so many things, and I was confused because I was like, why do I feel this way? Like, I literally had a moment one day when I looked at my cat. Someone had texted me, and they were like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was going to say yes. And I looked at my calendar, and I was like, I don't have the time. I don't have no time. And then I also looked at the calendar and was like, where's time for me? I was like, I have no time. I was like, I'm literally doing things with people, committing to things with
Mm-hmm.
people. I was like, this is crazy. And I had to have a huge like self audit with myself. Like, listen, girl, you know that you recharge by yourself and you've literally given everything to
Mm-hmm.
everyone. So where is the space for you? And it was a huge eye opener because it helped me put so many things in place. Like, I mean, y'all already know if it ain't on the calendar, it don't
Mm-hmm.
exist. I am very strict about a lot of different things in my life because, to Carla's point, my ROI is also peace. I need to have peace, but I also need to have a lot of time for self because I recharge solo. And so I know that when I'm drained, it doesn't help anyone. I cannot be good to anybody if I'm
Mm-hmm.
drained. And so it really was it was, when I say a game changer for me, game changer. And I've just been able to carry that over in every facet of my life. Like, literally, like, my sister was texting me this morning, and shout out to Tahi, love you. She was texting me this morning, she was venting. I don't have the space for it. I was
Mm,
like,
that's great.
I sent a couple of emojis. I sent a quick reply, but we can't talk because I don't have the space. And I don't feel guilty at all because if you do not put boundaries in place, everyone will take advantage of you. It doesn't matter how much
And
life
not
you
even
have. It's just what it
intentionally.
is.
It's just like they're gonna,
It's not
they're gonna take.
intentional.
If you're giving, they're gonna take. Hmm.
Exactly. So that was my moment, and it was really powerful. And when I think about things like this, and I feel like I said, there's a lot of conversations happening where people are like the power of no, and just there's so many like
Hmm.
resources and things coming out where people are talking about what are your boundaries, what are you putting in place, how are you doing this, and I feel like I'm happy that, like, at least me personally, I've been doing a lot of self healing to kind of navigate that in my life, and it's an exercise, right? It's a muscle. It's like sometimes you know you can waver, but I think if you have the foundation, like y'all were just saying,
Hmm.
it helps you be able to figure out like which things will you give that energy to, which won't you, and how will you feel in the process, you know, like for anything,
Yeah, and you have
anything.
to have the awareness, right? Because I wasn't even. I mean, I was aware to an extent, certain extent, but then you start realizing what is the hat that you wear, and also you have to be able to accept that you're not necessarily killing something off about you, but it's okay to no longer like carry a title, right? Like if you're the planner in your friends group, or you're the partier in your friends group, or the something, whatever that something is, and you choose that you no longer want to be that, you have every right to no longer be the one who does that thing for whatever reason. You don't owe anyone an explanation. So I feel like sometimes, like within our friends groups or within certain dynamics, people just get put into roles, and like you are expected to fulfill that duty in that role, and the moment it doesn't happen, there's a shift in the dynamic. And that's something that I had to learn, because for me, being a person that it doesn't always do so well with conflict, if I'm not holding up to that standard, is gonna inconvenience people. And so you have to learn like how to like have that conversation as well. Like you said, it's a muscle you have to exercise, and people are gonna be tight.
It's level setting expectations. And I started this thing on TikTok, don't judge me, where I do a message of a week or a day, whatever I feel like
Okay,
it.
I
So my
love the
message today
content.
was okay, trying. My message,
Not okay, trying.
but because you know I can fall off easily, but I'm okay with it though. That's the other thing.
Yes,
I'm so
yes.
okay. It doesn't matter. But level setting expectations, and I love that you said that because that was my message today. But it's really important because I'm gonna give y'all another example. My cousins, love them. my cousin was like, "Ooh, we should start a book club." And I was like, "That's cute." And I was just like, "But I'm gonna let y'all know right now, not leading it.
Mhm.
So if you would like to start a book club, one of y'all will have to take the lead, and y'all let us know what we need to do. If that doesn't happen, it won't get started." They were like, "Heard you, just letting that be
Mhm.
known," because normally they would look to me. "Oh, Yanni can start this. Yanni can help lead. Yanni can."
Mhm.
No, Yanni can't.
But Yanni has
Yanni can't.
always done so. And so now they got to get used to like the
Yanni,
baton gets passed. Like somebody else take the lead. Like that's it.
listen, people need to start learning to do
I'm
some
a passenger
things.
princess, okay? I don't want to drive.
Not you pushing P.
I am pushing P, okay?
I mean, I
Not
really
you
am a
pushing
passenger
P.
princess though, because I do not drive.
It's me. I like to drive. Call me Rihanna. Shut up and drive.
I cannot.
I'm a
I
I'm a
love it. I
drive.
love it. So can I ask y'all, because Delilah, you talked a little bit about this earlier, like what are some for the community, especially because honestly, like this is an ongoing
Mhm.
conversation. I know we all know a lot of people in our
Mhm.
lives that don't got boundaries,
Yeah.
right? That it's just
Hmm.
what it is. What are some like tools or
Mhm.
advice that we can give to everyone to kind of help them start to like become aware of things like this if they're not, and really exercise this in their lives?
Mhm. I think you need to start doing it and doing it immediately. Like there is no like good time when to say no. Like just start saying no just because you can say no, because then it starts building
Mhm.
something in you where you don't feel forced to do anything. Another thing is to understand that like the power dynamic, and not feel that because someone is your superior or someone is you don't owe anyone a yes. Anyone, whether it's anyone, you don't owe a yes to. And although like as younger professionals or people just getting their footing, where it feels like you have to take certain things on, I think you need to just reflect on the question, like Carla said, what is my ROI? Because even starting out young in the field and as you gain experience, um, you don't have to do everything. And I feel like this is something culturally that we have to learn, because the reason that we go so hard and do more is because we all heard the same. We got to do like twice as hard to get half as much of our counterparts. And yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So it's just like we come into the space like thinking like we have to do all the things, and it really doesn't serve us over time. And yes, I feel like you just need to take accountability and see where those decisions where you're saying yes and the things that you want to do. Ask yourself, why am I wanting to say yes? And I feel like when you know how to answer that and you answer it honestly, then you could be okay with the no or with following through.
Hmm.
Facts.
Okay.
I love that. For me, I think it's figuring out A, my non negotiables, and B, what the best version of myself at peace looks like. And
Ooh.
the if that person has anything within that, if there's anything within that space that is not helping, is actually helping to make me feel better, anything that does the complete opposite is what I need to subtract from
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying yes to. So, like as of lately, me saying no is by in the morning. I get up and I am not checking for y'all. I am not talking to
As
anyone.
me.
I am quiet. I feel like everybody should wake up quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Me
the
too.
older I
Me
get,
too.
Talkers
yeah,
annoy
the
me.
older I get, the more annoy me. Like, cause I'm like, when you start talking, I'm like,
Girl.
I don't want to be rude and ask you if you brush your teeth yet. So like, just sit in silence.
Please,
So
please. Yeah, no, I'm not a morning person. Whoever
I don't
knows
want
me
to do that.
knows.
Okay, I'm not, but I feel like whoever I like when I'm in my most peaceful state, like for me it's the gym at this
Mm-hmm.
moment. So that person that's like, my phone is on D&D when I go.
Mm-hmm.
I have on a playlist that is all the music or all the artists I love that don't disturb my peace or my energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have with me like anything that makes me feel better. So that is anything from water to I'll bring like a lotion that I love that I'll put on afterwards, like if
Mm-hmm.
I've been really gross, or like a certain like spray I'll put on when I go to the gym. Jackie Ayanna taught me that.
Okay.
But all of those things that allow for me to make sure that I'm in alignment with my non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my advice to our lovely community.
Yes, I love that.
I love that. So I feel like so the common themes here, longevity. The nature of the game is longevity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how whatever you're doing, how are you going to be able to take that through? And then the second thing is self-preservation, right? Because at the end of the day, you are the only person that can focus on self. No one is going to treat self the way
Right.
you would. And so you have to really look at things like that. And so I at one to everything y'all said and really just focusing on like asking the questions of what can I say yes to, like Delilah said, what can I give energy
Mm-hmm.
to, what do I have the space
Mm-hmm.
for, like, and that you have to look at your entire
Mm-hmm.
situation, like within a day, within a
Yeah.
month, whatever, what do you have the space for, because this is a life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So work, family, friends, relationships, they all play little parts. And so if we're constantly saying the yes to
Mm-hmm.
things, we're literally having things take up that
Yeah.
space, and there's no time for you.
Yes. And something I was going to point out too is that there's a season for yes and a season for no. I feel like depending what your goal is and what you're working toward, maybe this season my no is no to absolutely no outing, because right now I need to focus on achieving this goal and I need to be like, head down and like complete it. And maybe in another season, my no is towards, I don't know, another aspect of life. If, let's say you just got married or you just had a child, like you have to look at how your life is holistically for you to decide when and at one point. And also understanding that with no, it doesn't mean that you're going to sever relationships. I think a part of this is also communication. And that's something that we could all improve on. I know for myself, like I'm a person who self-soothes. And so like when I'm dealing with, just chaos and like things going array, like I do better with like being inward, and like I need my like solo space. Like I don't want to bring my energy anywhere to anyone. So it's just a lot of this. If you notice, also the underlying thing is checking in with self, because until you don't really
Yeah.
understand how you operate, what makes you feel good, what brings you joy, and all of these things, this conversation, it is the afterthought. The preliminary work is like tapping into you.
100%.
Girl, you is
100%.
preaching.
And knowing that like it's not like with life, it's not one size fits all,
Mhm.
right? Like everyone operates differently, everyone's expectations are differently, your expectation with yourself is different, and so you really got to figure out what that looks like for you, and
Mhm.
it's going to take time also. Like I think we're all talking about this is a journey.
Mhm.
It is a marathon. Like it takes time, and so you can't expect that like you can start right away for sure, but you can't expect that because you say no one time and say yes another time, oh my god, like I'm doing it again or I'm
Right.
backsliding or whatever. It doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
It doesn't work that way.
No, yeah, and the people that you know are gonna be on that end of the no, they'll still love you regardless, if they are your people. Because the people who are dismissive and not acknowledging why you don't have the bandwidth, those are not your people. They don't respect your boundaries, and maybe that's another way to weed those kind of people out of your life, anyways.
It
A
is
hundred
like
percent.
I agree with y'all because I started to look at myself as a canvas, and I'm like I can't fit everything on that slate.
Mm.
I really really can't. So like I could splatter paint, I could add things, I could build, but like after a while, things get heavy and it's
Mhm.
gonna fall over. So if it can't fit on that canvas, then it don't need to be there.
And you just, you know what, you take that off and you just start a new one. Just boop.
Okay, overflow,
Boop,
overflow.
scoop, scoop.
Yeah.
Yes. Her
So can we talk about hashtag obsessed with? And is there anything within this realm, kind of what we're talking about, self healing, preservation? No. that you two are obsessed, hashtag obsessed with right now?
Yeah, me is, to be honest, the Bible app. I've been using it adamantly.
The Holy
The Holy,
Bible.
that's what it's called. The app is the Holy Bible. And I've been starting my day with prayer and reflection and ending my night the same way and sticking to my commitment beyond the 21 days because, we often want to lean to God and lean to, that higher source or power, whoever that may be, in times of distress. But I want to lean to Him in times of joy or in times of need for other people
Yes.
as well. Like, there's not a right or wrong way for prayer, but I do know, like, reading the word has just brought me some peace because sometimes you really do think that you're the only one going through something, and then you read what you read, and it's like, damn, they know exactly what I'm feeling or what I'm going through. And there's just been a sense of like stillness and quietness. Today, my cousin actually shared on his story someone's not Insta story, a reel, and the reel said, and I don't know if he read this from like a biblical verse or from where he got it from, but it just stuck with me, and it was that I believe God said to for everyone to put their problems in a pile, and they rummaged the pile with everyone's problems and told people to choose another problem, like to choose from the pile a problem.
Mm,
And everyone started like
mhm.
scrambling and being to tears because they wanted their original problem back, because the shit that other people was dealing with was too much to bear, and that was not the problem that no longer wanted, and they was almost happy with the problem that they originally had. And the lesson there is that the reason for our problems and the things that we go through are our own personal assignments. And the reason that we're called to those problems because they're only for us to solve. And it's so isn't going to be nobody's challenge but our own. And what you build or what you you know like create in the solving of that problem is what you need to carry. It's like the learning tools that you need to face other things that are going to come down the line.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And also a reminder that the grass is not always greener.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody seem to think that like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's problem, like they got it
Mm-hmm.
easy. Like I don't know why this is a society that thinks that everybody got their own ish that
Mm-hmm.
they dealing with in their
In their way,
way.
yep. So that was just eye opening. But yeah, the Bible app has been a game changer, and it's like you get to meet just different pastors from across the country, across the world, actually, just sharing a verse or like their insight as it pertains to the verse. And yeah, it's just been really good, and I feel like it's exactly what I've been needing these days. So shout out to the Bible app.
All right now, Carlita.
Her.
Yo, Carla, I
Actually,
can't wait.
plus one. Actually, plus one to the Bible app,
Really?
but
Oh,
also
I love that for us.
plus one, but also the 5 minute journal.
Oh, I'm trying to get into
Um,
that one. That's like my
Mm,
sister lives by that app. She loves it.
so I used to use it. I was using it last year, and then I kind of fell off, and now I'm trying to pick it back up. But what I like about it is that it literally takes 5 minutes to just fill out the prompts. Plus, over time, as you continue to fill it out, it'll start to like create like a bubble or a cloud, if you will, of like common words or themes that come up like
Mm,
as you're journaling.
cool.
And I'm like, oh, that's so good. So like I'll get to reflect back and do that. But also for me, it's been and kind of really leaning more into my spirituality. It's when I get up in the morning, the first thing I put on is gospel music. I will say I was a little off this morning. I had a little ratchet morning because I did not put on my gospel music
Mm,
and like really just start my day and just flow into it. And I notice now that even when there can be things that will annoy me, get on my nerve, but the second I get up the next day and I reset with that like meditative kind of music,
mhm.
it's like, well, what were you even worried about in the first place? Like,
Yes. It
it's
doesn't
not that
matter.
deep.
it
Life
puts
goes
things in
on.
Mhm.
perspective.
Oh, it does every single time.
Like all of a sudden,
So
it doesn't
those two
matter
things,
as much.
it don't matter.
Mhm.
So those two things, and since we're kind of talking about the obsessed with, we didn't name a person, and for me, it's been Sarah Jakes. Don't play with her, Roberts.
Oh my God, I need to get into it. I've seen clips come on my feed, but
Yeah.
I definitely want to listen to her on YouTube. You're like She's been popping up
She
a lot for me, so I need to follow up.
she's good. She is
Mhm.
so good. So for all my spiritual girlies,
Mhm.
um, check her out. She's dope. But yeah, her and of course Alex L. Like A1, 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Highly
Dope,
recommend.
dope.
I think Alex L does like a little series. I forget what it's called. It's like oh my gosh, I'm gonna find it so I can talk about it right now. But she does this like little thing where you swipe through
Mhm.
on Instagram and she reads off different little. Oh, it's like she does a carousel. It'll be like 3 things to pay attention to this month, and then she'll put like pay attention to, and then she'll bold it and then give an explanation or whatever the leading topic is. She'll do it,
Okay.
and they're so good.
Yeah, I've been following Alexa. Like, I feel like she's one of the social OGs, like social media OGs.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
She
Yeah.
Facts.
has a way with
I feel
words.
like we lean into her and all of us always repost We the Urban.
Yes.
That's first of all, that is my site.
Yeah,
Like they
I
need to
know,
just hire
Ayanna.
me.
mhm.
They need to hire me to just like post for them.
They be in my mind.
No,
Like
for real.
they be so accurate. Like it.
Right? It's
All
like,
the
are y'all
time.
like what?
Mhm.
Like how do you
Mhm.
know?
It's
How do
so
you
good. It's
know?
so good.
Like, how dare you read
Mhm.
me like this every
Mhm.
day?
Oh my God, I love that. All right, so I love that the both of you said Alex L because that's definitely my girl. I also like Layla Delia.
Ooh,
I'm
she's
trying.
good.
Mhm.
I love her too. So going back to what you said, Carla, like for me, grounding is super important. So in my morning ritual, it's always like, wake up, I pull my affirmation cards. I got two different types of affirmation cards. I light my incense, my sage. I do my workout. I do meditation. I love shower meditation, so it's the first thing I do. Like so that's always a really grounding thing for me too. It helps me stay focused and present. But the thing that I've been super, super obsessed with is this book called The Sugar Jar. And it's by Yasmin Cheyenne. So shout out to Yasmin. I also slid in her DMs, but we won't talk about that. So I'm obsessed with this book because I also feel like she's just talking to me. I think she's talking to everyone, but when you feel like someone's talking to you, like,
Mhm.
oh my God. And I just feel like her book is all about self healing and boundaries. And I'm really like, I've grown into it. So I'm really good at exercising my boundaries, but she gives really good reminders. And I love the analogy she uses of the sugar jar. Basically, like all of our boundaries, we're like a kitchen and a sugar jar. And when we keep our lid on and when we take it off and the sugar comes out, that's when people start to like tap into our energy and take advantage or do different things. And how do you control the top of the sugar jar?
Mhm.
And it is just such a great
Mhm.
reminder. And she gives a lot of good tips. And she also has an app. And it's been giving me life because it helps, again, exercising that muscle. It helps remind
Mhm.
you that you shouldn't feel guilty about controlling your time and wanting to find your
Right.
peace. And so I'm obsessed.
I find this so interesting too that all of us like that's not something, and correct me if I'm wrong, it just doesn't sound like it has been something we were raised to do.
No. What?
Yeah, I was
What?
not raised.
First of all, we wasn't even in therapy. Like our fit, like no.
So it's like things that we had to learn as adults as we continued experiencing the world. Because I don't know if you guys ever had the feeling of like, damn, I wish I could operate the way that person does. Like when they show up into the room, I wish I could be how they are, but not because I don't love who I am. It's just the way they have a handle on certain situations and the way they like show up. And I know that is a residual of knowing your boundaries.
Yes, and doing this
Mhm.
work and leaning into who you are and what you want out of life and how others should treat you.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. So interesting.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Well, all right, y'all. This has been fun. Another episode of the break room. But I think
Mm-hmm.
we've said all we had to
No,
say.
this was good. Until next time.
Yeah.
Any final words?
Until next
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Ooh, can we all wrap with like an affirmation?
Oh, okay.
Yes. You want to kick us off?
Sure. I'll say a statement that's been sticking with me over the last few weeks, and that is the best form of transportation is a leap of faith.
Oh, I like
Oh, I
me
like
too. I
that.
seen that you posted it and I was like, wow, that's really good.
Um, Mine is I am able to be a work of progress and a beautiful person inside and out all at the same time. Both can coexist.
Yes. And let me see, for me, and this is not one that like I guess it's just like a all encompassing. Um, but I own my truths.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's a mic drop.
Yes, I own my truths. And on that note,
Mm-hmm.
catch us in the break room
We
the
got to
next
wrap
time because
out.
we out of here.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, y'all.